Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into a huge tech announcement, one that kind of bridges social media and, well, crypto philosophy. All eyes are definitely on X right now. We are unpacking the official unveiling of XChat. It's this brand new, integrated, and apparently totally rebuilt encrypted messaging service.
That's right. It's a big one. And it's launching both inside X, what used to be Twitter, and as its own app.
But the really fascinating part, the bit that got everyone talking, especially in crypto and privacy spaces, was Elon Musk saying XChat uses, and I'm quoting here, peer-to-peer based encryption, kind of similar to Bitcoin.
Yeah, that specific phrase, similar to Bitcoin, carries a lot of weight. It implies things about user control, about architecture. So our mission today is really to unpack what that Bitcoin-style claim actually means for your privacy day to day. We need to, compare it properly to platforms like WhatsApp and Signal. And maybe most importantly, figure out how this secure messaging layer fits into Musk's bigger vision for X as this everything app. What really jumps out from the material we looked at is this focus on the architecture, not just policy promises. The claim isn't just, oh, we encrypt stuff. It's a structural guarantee. No ads, no data harvesting, no hooks. So yeah, we've got a mix of claims, technical bits, and strategy to wade through.
Okay, let's start with the scale of this. The source material is pretty clear. This isn't some optional feature you toggle on. No, it sounds like a fundamental rebuild. They're ripping out Twitter's old, frankly quite clumsy, DM system.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
And replacing it completely with end-to-end encrypted communication. In the timeline, they're saying within a few months.
Which is ambitious for something this big.
And Musk isn't exactly being subtle about it. He's calling XChat the least insecure of any messaging system. That's quite a statement.
It is. It's strong language.
It signals they're positioning security almost as the main selling point, trying to win people over based on trust.
Absolutely. And that kind of high-stakes talk reflects just how massive this engineering job must be. Like you said, it's not just an update. Rebuilding the core messaging for a platform the size of X and doing it with the peer-to-peer approach, that's a huge undertaking. It really tells you that messaging isn't just a side feature anymore. It's being treated as the foundational piece needed for, well, maybe a whole financial ecosystem later on.
Right. Okay, so let's get into that technical analogy, the Bitcoin-style encryption. What are we actually talking about here?
Okay, so when Musk uses that phrase, it almost certainly points to one specific aspect of Bitcoin. Its use of public-private key cryptography for identity and verification. The core mechanic is this. You, the user, hold a private key. That key is needed to decrypt messages sent to you. And crucially, the message isn't just sitting on an X server somewhere waiting to be checked. The verification, the handshake, it happens directly, peer-to-peer, between your device and the recipient's device. So the key architectural point, the thing that echoes Bitcoin's philosophy, is that no central server needs to see your message. That's the goal.
Okay. But when you say Bitcoin style and peer-to-peer, a lot of people, myself included, immediately think blockchain. Is XChat running on some massive distributed ledger? Is that what's happening?
That's a really important clarification to make. The sources are actually very explicit on this point. While they describe XChat as peer-to-peer, they state very clearly, while not blockchain-based.
Okay, so no blockchain.
It's no blockchain. It seems they've taken the concept from Bitcoin, the user-controlled keys, the decentralized verification idea, that don't trust, verify ethos.
Right.
But they've deliberately left out the actual blockchain ledger, probably because it's too slow and heavy for messaging at scale. And that separation is key. It potentially gives them the privacy benefits of decentralization without the performance hit of a full blockchain. What this architecture aims to create is a trustless communication network. Meaning you don't have to just trust X's policies or hope their security team is perfect. The claim is that the encryption and the peer-to-peer routing enforce privacy by design, no matter what the company running the server might want to do.
Okay, that makes sense. So if the architecture itself prevents them seeing message content, it changes the whole game. Which brings us to the competition. Musk specifically went after WhatsApp, didn't he?
He did, quite directly.
Yeah, he criticized WhatsApp, saying they know enough about what you're texting to show you ads, and called that a huge security vulnerability.
Yeah.
Now, WhatsApp pushes back, of course. They emphasize, correctly, that they use the Signal protocol for end-to-end encryption, which is highly regarded.
So
if the content of the message is encrypted on WhatsApp, what's the vulnerability Musk is actually attacking? What data is he talking about?
this is probably the most crucial point to understand. We need to look beyond just the message content. The real target here is metadata.
Metadata. Okay.
Yes, WhatsApp, like pretty much every major centralized messaging app, encrypts the text, the photos you send, that's true. But they collect vast amounts of metadata. And metadata is basically everything else.
Like what?
Like who you're talking to, when you talk to them, how often, for how long, maybe your location when you send a message, what kind of device you're using. All that contextual stuff around the message.
And that's not usually encrypted.
Rarely, if ever, in these big centralized systems. And that metadata is incredibly valuable. It's a privacy goldmine for advertisers and data brokers. It lets platforms map out your social connections, understand your relationships, predict your behavior, see your patterns, even without reading your texts. That's what fuels the ad targeting engines.
Right. So XChat's promise is to cut that off at the source.
That's the claim. By building it peer-to-peer, the idea is to minimize or eliminate the central collection points for that kind of metadata. So being Bitcoin for messaging means embedding privacy into the architecture, not just relying on a privacy policy that could change. The goal, based on the source material, seems to be combining the kind of features and usability people like in Telegram with the stronger architectural privacy you get from Signal.
Okay, that focus on usability combined with, let's call it unharvestable data, feels like the bridge to the bigger picture. We keep hearing about Musk's long-term plan for X as a super app. You know, the single place for payments, messaging, video, social stuff, AI tools, everything.
Exactly. And you can see how a truly secure, private messaging layer like XChat becomes the absolute necessary foundation for that vision. You simply can't build a reliable financial super app, something that handles peer-to-peer payments, maybe secure identity features on top of a leaky, centralized messaging system built primarily to harvest data for ads. The trust wouldn't be there.
That makes perfect sense.
And Musk has dropped hints about crypto payments being part of X's future for a while now. So the analysis suggests XChat isn't just about messaging, it's the secure, potentially trustless plumbing needed to make that transition towards a financial super app possible. They seem to be aiming for something like the WeChat model in China, which integrates tons of services, but with this very strong upfront emphasis on architectural privacy as a key differentiator.
So this whole initiative, it's also a massive strategic play in the market, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, people are increasingly worried about surveillance, about data breaches, about AI scraping all their personal info. Privacy-focused tools feel like a growing market.
Definitely. In this environment, privacy becomes a form of power, a competitive advantage. XChat seems positioned to try and capture users who might be getting nervous about WhatsApp or even Telegram by offering this all-in-one solution that claims a higher level of trust baked into its design.
It's a fundamental rebranding effort, too, moving X from being seen as just a chaotic social network towards being potentially a cybersecurity brand.
That seems to be the goal. And looking further out, the secure peer-to-peer infrastructure they're building, it's adaptable. The sources even hint at future possibilities, things like personal AI agents that communicate securely across wallets, messages, and payments. Secure messaging could just be the starting point for a much broader ecosystem.
Wow. Okay, so that is a potentially huge shift. Let's try and synthesize this for everyone listening. If, and it's still an if, but if XChat actually delivers on this promise of genuine peer-to-peer private messaging without the central ad hooks and metadata collection, it really represents a major philosophical challenge, a structural break from the surveillance capitalism model that's dominated messaging for the past decade or so.
It absolutely does. Now, the technical challenge of making something like Bitcoin-style messaging work reliably at the scale of X is immense. We definitely need to keep watching how it develops and critically analyze their progress. And, it's worth mentioning the kind of deep analysis we try to do here, pulling apart these dense technical claims, it's really only possible because of the engagement we get from you, the listeners. When you share these deep dives, when you comment, it genuinely helps the channel grow, boosts visibility, and lets us keep putting the resources into tackling complex topics like this one.
Yeah, we honestly appreciate that support more than you know. It makes a real difference. So maybe the final thought to leave you with, reflecting on everything we've discussed, is this fundamental question. Is XChat truly the beginning of something new, a more decentralized social web where users genuinely control their keys and their data? Or is it ultimately very sophisticated marketing for the next big super app, where despite the P2P claims, the central entity still holds enough power to make it more about data consolidation in the end?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? We'll keep tracking the architecture, not just the announcements. And we'll see you next time for the next deep dive.